This is Augustana Sportscene, a weekly update on Viking athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Enjoy the action and excitement of NCAA Division II athletics at Augustana. Augie Sports Update is brought to you by Schoenemann's.
Coach Dave Kraus' Augustana women's basketball team battled their way to a 71-52 victory over number 6th ranked Wayne State in front of 2,452 enthusiastic fans at the Elman Center. With the win, the Vikings upped their record to 12-3 overall and 9-2 in the NSIC. The Augustana ladies are now tied with Wayne State for the conference lead. The Vikings got out to a 28-25 halftime lead and extended the margin in the second half to claim the big win. Alex Feeney had a tremendous game for Augustana as she scored 25 points and hauled down 11 rebounds. Lydia Nelson added 17 points and 6 boards. Molly Hayes contributed a strong floor game as she dished out 7 assists while only committing 1 turnover. The Vikings shot 49% from the field and 71% from the free throw line in the victory. In men's basketball, Coach Tom Billiter's team got past Wayne State 63-49 in front of 3,037 fans at the Elman Center. Augustana led 26-25 at halftime, but outscored the Wildcats 37-24 in the second half to improve their record to 10-5 overall and 7-4 in the NSIC. Senior Cody Schilling led the way for the Vikings as he scored 15 points, snared 6 rebounds, and passed out 3 assists. Cameron McCaffrey added 12 points, with Leif Noland and David Fritsch each coming down with 6 rebounds. The Vikings shot 44% from the field and made 20 of 23 free throws on their way to the home court victory. Augustana out-rebounded Wayne State 34-30 and played solid team defense in the second half to seal the win. In wrestling, Coach Jason Reithmeyer's 5th-ranked team claimed the consolation title at the National Wrestling Collegiate Association Duels in Springfield, Illinois. The Vikings went 4-1 at the meet as they defeated Findlay University of Ohio 27-12, Northern State 25-15, Limestone College of South Carolina 23-11, and Central Oklahoma 16-15. Augustana's lone setback at the duels was a 21-10 defeat against number 4 Nebraska Kearney. And all other Augustana sports teams are working hard this winter. The indoor track teams are beginning their competition, while the baseball, softball, tennis, and golf teams are all holding workouts inside. And Augustana's football coaches have been on the road working on the recruiting process as signing day comes up in early February. That's our sports update for this week. When we come back, we'll talk Augustana men's basketball with Coach Tom Billiter. Stay with us. Decision at 174. Winning by decision for Augustana were Alex Burkhart at 125, Chisholm Fink at 141, Nate Herda at 149, Marcus Edgington at 157, Nat Morris at 165, Jade Docken at 184, and Sean Derry at 197. And in indoor track, Coach Tracy Hellman's men's and women's teams competed at the University of Minnesota Invitational in Minneapolis. Adu Amat led the Vikings with a 3rd-place finish in the 800-meter run, while the women's 4x400 relay team of Kayla Mesher, Colleen Iverson, Katie Tonner, and Annie Parsley paced the Augustana ladies. That's our sports update for this week. When we come back, we'll talk Augustana men's basketball with Coach Tom Billiter. Stay with us.
Augustana Sportscene is brought to you by Sanford Health, improving the human condition. By Schoenemann's, your trusted building center since 1888. And by Mid-Continent Communications, part of your community.
Cleaning hard water spots takes time and effort. Be sure your water softener is working properly. Your Culligan man can make sure any brand water softener is working by performing a 10-point inspection for only $19.95. That's Culligan. Better water, pure and simple.
Even the highest efficiency dishwasher can't remove spots from your glasses if you have hard water, but a Culligan High Efficiency water softener can. The Culligan High Efficiency saves you up to 46% in operating costs, and it makes your glasses look 100% beautiful.
Hi, I'm Chad Greenway of the Minnesota Vikings. I'm a big fan of how youth sports can help kids stay physically fit. But as an athlete and a parent, I'm also very concerned about safety. Millions of sports-related concussions happen every year, and many go unrecognized. That's alarming because the wrong treatment can slow recovery, worsen the condition, or lead to permanent damage. Please learn the facts about concussions and help protect our young athletes.
To learn more, visit sanfordhealth.org/heads-up.
The Augustana Men's Basketball Report is brought to you by Sanford Health.
Joining me now is Augustana men's basketball coach Tom Billiter. Well, Tom, you took the long, snowy road trip last weekend over to Upper Iowa and Winona State. A couple of hard-fought games, but a couple of ones that came out on the wrong side for us.
Yeah, you know, the Friday night game was an interesting game. Upper Iowa, as everyone has known, is close to winning. You know, they took St. Cloud to overtime, Moorhead to overtime. They beat some good teams, actually. I mean, they're a team that's been together. A lot of juniors and seniors. They run a system, and it was a game that we knew we would have to play well in order to win. And really, I didn't think we played poorly. You know, it was a good college basketball game. They made 9 for 19 from 3, which they haven't done normally, and they made their free throws. And you know, I wouldn't say we played an A-B game, but we sure didn't play a DF game, and we just came out on the short end. And you know, a little bit too, Bill, and our guys understand it. Even though, you know, where we are now, I don't know if our guys realize everybody's going to play their best game against us. They really.
Well, that's happened all year.
It has, and I had not seen Upper Iowa play that well. You know, I've seen every single game they played on film. I hadn't seen Duluth shoot the ball like they did against us. And to be honest, we guarded Upper Iowa. They only shot 40% for the game, you know, but they made their free throws and they made their threes, and we shot 48%. We did some good things, but we had a poor assist-to-turnover ratio, and in the end, we just didn't make plays down the stretch, even though, you know, we tied it and had a chance to go to overtime. You know, they hit a deep three. Time ran out. It was a good shot, and that was the difference in the game.
Yeah. Well, after that one, it was on to Winona State, the team that's leading the league, team that's playing very well, very good team. It was quite a basketball game, Tom. It was hard fought all the way, and watching it on TV here in Sioux Falls, it was definitely entertaining, and I'm sure not for you as it came out, but talk about the game.
You know, coaches always say there's no moral victories or things like that. Well, obviously there's not. You know, you want to win every game you play. Having said that, as a coach, your job is to get your team better each game, each week, each day. And there are things from that game that we can build on. And if you don't build on those things and improve your program and improve your team, then you're being a derelict of your duties, not only to your team but to your players and to your school. And there's an obvious difference in that game versus the game we played 20 hours earlier. And if our guys refuse to see that, well, then they just are choosing to shun themselves. And we'll build on that. Now, I really thought we should have won the game. You know, I mean, if anyone wants to sit down with me, we'll break that film down. We'll keep a tally on some things and see if there weren't some uncontrollable, unlucky, whatever factors. But our kids played hard, and it was a good college basketball game.
You're being kind, Tom. The Warriors shot 45 free throws, made 34. The Vikings shot 22 and made 19. It was a physical game, but an old coach in me tells me that there shouldn't have been that much discrepancy.
We're all biased. There's nothing you can say, nothing you can do about it. And that had nothing to do, you know, I mean, they're physical, they're shoving you pretty good, but we gave up an incredible amount of offensive rebounds. And that's a turnover, you know, and what I was happy about, we had 7 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of the game. I think we made 3 more the entire game, or 5 or whatever. You know, we really took care of it. We were a little jittery coming out, and they had a nice crowd. And it was a great atmosphere. It was a great college basketball game. We definitely could have won it. Didn't. They won it. But, you know, there's some things that were difficult to overcome.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the Vikings are back home this weekend against a couple of teams that hopefully it'll be payback time. And I hope our guys haven't forgotten 2 teams that took the best of us, St. Cloud State and Concordia, coming into the Elm Center.
As you said, everyone comes in, plays their best game. Concordia is playing great right now. They're really playing well, and they had a lot of talent all along, and now they're starting to gel. And in my opinion, St. Cloud, to be honest, is the best team in the league. I think they're just very physical. They're just a very good, solid basketball team. So, yeah, a fun week for us. Get a chance to see if our guys are able to meet the challenge, step up to the plate, and I'm sure they will. And, you know, as I said, my my job is to get us better each game, each week, and that's what we're going to do this week. We'll have a tremendous week of practice, and we have a nice little goal at the end is to play two teams that beat us the last time we played them.
Right, and the focus, I'm sure now with the season moving along here is starting to point toward that postseason basketball tournament.
Right now we're just trying to still improve and be a better team in order to be in a position when that time rolls around, A, to be in it, and B, to be playing our best basketball. And if that happens, as other teams in our league, there's no one we can't beat. But we aren't there yet, but we're definitely going that direction. Our defense is really getting better, and we're really doing some things much better than we were even a month ago.
Well, Tom, good luck to you and your team this weekend. Fans, get to the Elman Center, 2 great home games.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
The Augustana Women's Basketball Report with Coach Dave Krauth is next.
My eye was a tumor and it hurts in my head and it's right here. I have 3 favorite colors, red, pink, and purple. I like to draw fairies, princesses, and clothes. I want to be, when I grow up, a clothes modeler. It models clothes. This is my victory.
Why do you play? Why go through all the pain? The endless practices? For the victories? For the joy of playing the game? Or do you play for something even greater? If you already know the answer, we're the network for you. Midco Sportsnet. This is how we do sports.
The Augustana Women's Basketball Report is brought to you by Mid-Continent Communications.
With me now is Augustana Women's Basketball coach Dave Krauth. Well, Dave, the Vikings just keep on rolling. Last weekend took a long road trip over to Upper Iowa and Winona State and came out with 2 victories. It started out at Upper Iowa on Friday night. Game started a little slow, but the Vikings got going and came out with a big victory.
Yeah, I mean, that, I told Jeff Filling on a radio show that, I just always feel like that's a trap game, where they're at the bottom of the league from a win-loss standpoint. And I think our kids were ready to play, and we're trying to avoid that, but it was a little raggedy. We didn't shoot very well early, and as the game went on, I thought we got better, and the score got spread out.
Yeah, and the inside game really got going. Both Alex and Lydia had double-doubles.
Yeah, they were both pretty good around the basket. Lydia had 9 offensive rebounds, and that generally produces good things, whether you're scoring easy buckets or getting to the free throw lines or whatever it does. So, to have them both get double-doubles, I think that was probably a key. Shantiva Ashley had a real nice second half that night too, and then we hit some threes, particularly midway through the second half and maybe even late, that kind of made the score a little more unbalanced.
Yeah, great victory for the Vikings by over 30 points. Fans might be interested, Dave. Talk a little bit about how you make the road trip to Upper Iowa and Winona.
Well, this was the first one, of course, where we had winter, and this was our first year. They have one motel in Fayette, and we decided this year not to stay there. We stayed in West Union, where I think our football stays. Mm-hmm. It's a little more. It's only 7-8 miles, and a little more of a small town. A couple of restaurants, that type of thing So we went there, but even that little 7-8 mile jaunt for our shoot around and then back for the game, because of the conditions, was a little hairy. And then from there, after the game, head up to Winona. And that, if you go the short route there, that is a very interesting route. We took a little longer route to avoid some of that. But it was a real road trip. And again, we came out of it with a couple wins. So you just knock on wood and feel good about it.
Yeah, super wins on both nights. Well, let's go to the Winona game. My goodness, what a great basketball game. It was close all the way. Winona led, Augie led, I think, back and forth, and came down to the end, and which we'll talk about in a minute, but the Vikings came out on top 57-55, Dave.
Yeah, it really was kind of a seesaw type of game, and it just looked like two teams that had scouted each other so well. We probably, I think in the first half, made a couple of defensive blunders where we just, that Saturday game, we don't do much other than our walkthrough, and then we watch a little bit of film on that opponent. But by the second half, we defended them very well. They defended us very well. Alex Feeney had a tough time ever getting the ball where she could do something with it. and then we just make a couple big plays down the stretch. You know, Molly Hayes made a couple, and Shantiva, of course, hit the shot that put us ahead with 2 seconds to go.
Right. Well, let's talk about the last stretch. I believe about 2.5 minutes to go in the game. Winona's up 55-50. The Vikings get the ball, come back, and Molly Hayes kind of took over for us. She scored 5 straight points.
Yeah, I mean, she got, to the free throw line, I think, for her first 2, and then hit that kind of a deep 3 after we'd gotten another stop to tie it. And of course, we're in this sort of get after them, press them mode, and that sort of scares you as a coach that, not everybody knows that now we're back even. And we did get a timeout, so again, we reminded them, and ended up getting another stop and had really the last possession of the game. And I thought Molly went too early. But as it turned out, it was perfect because we didn't get what we were looking for, and the ball just kind of came around the horn again, and Shantiva actually passed up a 3 and then took it to the hole, and I was kind of holding my breath if she'd have enough time, but she got it off.
Yeah, well, watching it on TV, the light went on just after Shantiva released it from her hand, but it was good. We were up 57-55. Then, Dave, a couple seconds to go. Talk about the wildness from there.
Yeah, and of course, that's that last 2 seconds of a game when, the percentages are with you or against you if you're trying to go the length of the court and you need to score. And I thought we did a good job. We kept people in front of us and got deflected the pass, and it's just like a, defensive backs in football, and the ball where it would have been, end of a game, of course, it's on the floor, and their girl picks it up and just baseball heaves it about 70 feet and swish, but it was just after or during while the buzzer was going off, so it was quite a finish.
Yeah, wild game in Winona. Vikings coming out on top. Dave, you're up to 14-3 now, 11-2 in the NSIC, and back home again this weekend for second games of the season against 2 teams, starting out Friday night with Concordia and then Saturday with St. Cloud State.
Yeah, Concordia was the big kind of a big game for us. We came from 20 down and came back and were able to win that game there. And emotionally that's they're going to remember that and be prepared for us. And so that's a tough game for us. St. Cloud is just a 94 feet for 40 minutes. And so we're going to have a couple of tough opponents. We had a tough stretch against St. Cloud in the second half where they've gone to it more now, kind of a trapping half-court zone. And, boy, we were back on our heels. And I think this time, hopefully, it's not going to catch us quite by surprise.
Well, it's going to be a couple of great ball games, fans. 6 o'clock Friday night with Concordia St. Paul, 4 o'clock Saturday with St. Cloud State. Get over to the Elman Center and see our outstanding Augie women's basketball team. Good luck, Dave.
Thanks, Bill.
Up next, Augie Sports Focus. Stay with us.
Cleaning hard water spots takes time and effort. Be sure your water softener is working properly. Your Culligan man can make sure any brand water softener is working by performing a 10-point inspection for only $19.95. That's Culligan. Better water, pure and simple.
Even the highest efficiency dishwasher can't remove spots from your glasses if you have hard water, but a Culligan High Efficiency water softener can. The Culligan High Efficiency saves you up to 46% in operating costs, and it makes your glasses look 100% beautiful.
I was half the person I used to be, literally. I knew that if I didn't have the strength back in my body, I'd never be able to ride my Harley again, and that was one of my other goals I had, was to be able to get back on the bike. Just being able to get out and experience, the area and the surroundings on the back of a bike is so much different than being in a car. You can smell the smells as you drive through, you can hear the sounds. It's just great. This is my victory.
When I was young, I loved helping my grandfather with projects. From building a birdhouse to odd jobs around the house, we always got our supplies from Schoenemann's. I remember the smell of the fresh cut lumber and all the bins full of nails, nuts, and bolts. Today, my projects are a bit bigger, and so is Schoenemann's selection. I rely on them for everything I need.
Schoenemann's in Sioux Falls and Harrisburg. Expert advice, everything you need.
You can always do it right with Schoenemann's.
Augie Sports Focus is brought to you by Schoenemann's.
Joining me now is Augustana women's basketball coach Dave Crowell. Dave, usually we talk about Augie women's basketball, but today we're going to talk about your life as a coach. And it started for you, basketball, playing at Sioux Falls O'Gorman and then at Sioux Falls College in the early 70s. And then after that, you decided coaching was your game. So why'd you get into coaching?
Well, I think growing up, you're almost like a lot of people. You end up a gym rat, and that looks like the logical way to continue with that type of a lifestyle. If you go into coaching. And so I think growing up, probably early on, I had thoughts that was maybe a direction I wanted to go. And really had some second thoughts as I was a college player about, whether or not that was really what I wanted to do. And I'm not sure I knew exactly what was better, but I did have some second thoughts in that time frame. Spent several years in the military, but almost a lot of that was also athletic time because I coached in the military at a West Point prep school and played a lot of post teams and this and that. But then just decided when I got out that maybe back into that business was a good direction for me, and ended up at then Tri-Valley High School.
Yeah, and you started out at Tri-Valley and coached both the boys and the girls there. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, that was, of course, when you're young and dumb, you can do things like that, it seems. But, of course, the girls were in the fall in South Dakota, and then the boys in the traditional winter segment. So, I end up with, really a 7-month season with the girls, followed by the boys. And really, for a number of years, it was fine. I loved it, and we had good teams, and so that makes it even that much more enjoyable. But as I got to 8-10 years of doing it, it really starts to get to be a long season, and then ended up looking to try to get out of one of them. And I had daughters, at that time, then playing basketball, so ended up going just the girls route.
Yeah, and it was then down to Des Moines Roosevelt.
And that's really how I ended up in Des Moines. I was having trouble getting out of particularly the boys basketball when I was at Tri-Valley, and so it just ended up snooping a little bit, and that kind of a fluky thing. They called me back. I didn't think they were going to interview me, and called me back and say, "Hey, can you be here Friday?" And I did, and it all panned out. So I had 2 years in Des Moines, and again, we were fortunate enough to have pretty good teams there.
Well, and then in 1989, Augie got fortunate. Dave Krauth came back as to the area as our women's basketball coach. Why did you decide you wanted to get into college coaching?
Well, I think there's probably a lot of high school coaches that see, the other end of that, the college side of it, that has a few things. The recruiting probably is the major difference, and being from the Sioux Falls area, I was familiar with Augustana, and I think the programs and some of the people here, and I think it was not only intriguing but inviting, and when the opportunity came along, I just decided it was a good move for me.
Well, and it's not only been a good move for you, a great move for Augie. Tremendously successful career here, Dave, with many, many wins. Let's talk about that career at Augie. What are your thoughts? What's it been like to coach women's basketball at Augustana?
Well, when I compare it, let's say, just to high school coaching, I haven't really approached it a lot differently. I think it's basketball, and I coached boys and girls, or men and women, I guess, and I've tried to kind of, take the same approach, just to try to get kids to as fundamentally sound as I could, and put solid teams on the court, and I also try to emphasize, up-tempo basketball and playing the game that's maybe both fun for the kids, but is fan-friendly too, and it just kind of clicked early on, and we've been able to get some good kids here, and I think, I've enjoyed it, and hopefully our players have too.
Well, you've had a great career here, Dave. Family has been a big part of your life here with coaching. Sandy, of course, Dave's wife at Games Forever, and then coaching both Julie and Kate, who were daughters. It's really been a family affair, hasn't it?
Well, and that's really been something that, I think that maybe sets me apart a little bit from others that, everybody likes to think you'd like incorporate your family into a job like that, and I was able to really do it. Coached both girls, and both of them ended up coming to Augie, coached them long hours in summer traveling teams, and with my wife Sandy there, being the scorekeeper and the head fan for our club, it really turned out to be something that I was real happy with, and I think all of them enjoyed and talked fondly of those years.
Well, it's been a wonderful experience, I know, for your whole family. And to finish up here, Dave, You've been doing this a long time. What do you like about coaching?
Well, I think the one thing when I had, some thoughts about it early on, before maybe I really got active in coaching, was that, you do experience a lot of emotional highs and lows, and the lows are not the fun parts, but it is something that sometimes it's a little unique when you compare it to other professions. And so I think you do have that where you can, it's not life and death, the wins and losses, but you can get those same emotional experiences that some other very serious things in other areas may provide you. So, that's part of it. I just enjoy it. Like I said, it's sports. It's something I've always had a liking for, and so it's just been able to combine a lot of things that I enjoy and do it on a regular basis.
Well, Dave, you've had a great career at Augustana. It's been great visiting with you about a little bit of philosophy on your life and coaching, so best of luck to you.
Thanks, Bill.
The Augustana Sports Calendar is next. We'll be right back.
How do you hold a moment? Keep friends and family close. Witness the passage of time. Replay the glory days. Relive magical nights. Create memories to share. How do you capture a lifetime? One picture at a time. Life Touch. Photography for a lifetime.
The all-new midsize 2012 Passat with dual-zone automatic climate control, Bluetooth, and scheduled carefree maintenance included. The Passat has more premium standard features than its competitors. That's the power of German engineering.
There's just times that there's a lot of darkness. I would be in church looking at the PowerPoint and just thinking, this could be my funeral, this could be my pictures up there. The day came when I could actually stand in front of our congregational family and I could sing a solo, and that was so huge because I had forgotten how beautiful a song could be in my heart.
My word is celebrate.
The Augustana Sports Calendar is brought to you by Sanford Health.
Let's take a look at the Augustana Sports Calendar for this week. Friday, January 27th, wrestling is on the road at St. Cloud State in St. Cloud. Basketball back home against Concordia University of St. Paul. The women tip off at 6, followed by the men at 8 at the Elman Center. Saturday, January 28th, wrestling continues road action at Minnesota State in Mankato. Indoor track is also in Mankato at the Minnesota State Invitational. And basketball is home against St. Cloud State University. The women start at 4, followed by the men at 6 at the Elman Center. And remember, for radio coverage of Augustana basketball, you can hear the men on KIKN FM 100.5 and worldwide at KIKN.com. And the Augustana ladies can be heard on KXRB AM 1000 and worldwide at KXRB.com. For complete information on Augustana athletics, go to our website, goaugie.com. That's it for this week's show. This is Bill Gross thanking you for watching, and I hope you'll join me again at this same time next week for another edition of Augustana Sportscene. Have a great week, everybody.
You've been watching Augustana Sportscene, a weekly update on NCAA Division II athletics at South Dakota's largest private college. Learn more about Augustana College in Sioux Falls at augie.edu.